government understand the declaration on the rights of Indigenous people to have free, prior, informed consent over all these projects?
Well, look, I think it's...
They have a veto is what I'm asking.
Well, the international commentary and the limited jurisprudence that we've seen on it indicates that we do need to fully engage, and to the extent there's the potential to have a more direct impact on Aboriginal and treaty rights, it demands a higher degree of engagement. The commentary has suggested to date that it's not necessarily a blanket veto power, but of course we're in new territory here. Over the course of the next generation, I expect the courts are going to do some significant work, but hopefully a lot of that work is actually going to be done as between governments and Indigenous peoples themselves through engagement and conversation. So the courts will have to listen to what the government understands the principle to mean, and I'm asking, what, never mind the commentary, what do you and your Prime Minister understand free, prior, informed consent to mean? Does it equal a veto? In most circumstances, I think it demands a very deep level of engagement and understanding of the rights that may be impacted, and to the extent that those rights can be accommodated, we should make every effort to. The explicit nature of a veto, so far my understanding is it stops short of a complete veto, but it certainly, in my view, heightens the demands upon government to engage fully, to both understand the nature of the rights that could be impacted by decisions taken by government, but also the heightened duty to accommodate those rights that are baked into our treaties and protected by our Constitution.
The legislation has to go to a committee.
Yesterday in Parliament, how do you feel about losing that vote?
Look, we're in a new territory. Canadians have elected a minority government with a very thin margin, depending on which parties may side with the government or with one another on any given vote. I try not to bake feelings into these things. They're math challenges, not problems with feelings. But we have to make sure that we do the work necessary to try to collaborate with parties across the aisle in order to implement the mandate that Canadians have given us.
When it comes to nation-building projects, how do you square this duty to consult thoroughly with the government's goal of moving these forward really quickly? When we see examples like Bill 5 in Ontario, Bill C-15 in BC, already seeing a lot of pushback from First Nations communities.
Well, look, I think when we get down to the actual project decisions, it's important that we fully understand the potential impact that those projects could have on rights that are protected in our treaties and, again, protected by our Constitution before we actually move forward with specific projects. We have had some engagement to date leading up to this First Minister's meeting, which is ongoing. The Prime Minister has committed to engaging over the course of the summer directly with Indigenous leaders as well. We've learned over the course of Canada's history, if you exclude rights holders from the conversation, in the long term, it's actually going to slow you down. So putting in the work up front to make sure that the nature of the rights that could be impacted are well understood, and moving forward, preferably in collaboration with Indigenous partners, is going to set you up for success in the long term. Just let me finish this one point. But it's also very clear in my community and communities across the country, Canadians want to see major projects that advance the national interest approved more quickly than the existing regime has for those key projects that are nation building. So the Prime Minister has made that commitment. We're going to be moving forward with measures that will help move forward those projects in the national interest, but we're going to do what we can to do it in collaboration with Indigenous partners.
Does that take place outside?
Sorry, you can get me on the way out. I get some prep work to do.
And Mr. Gerretson, why did you guys didn't vote yesterday?
We didn't, or we knew the outcome of what that vote was going to be. There was we have 169 members. One's the Speaker, and we had 4 people paired. 100% efficiency in terms of our vote turnout yesterday.
You didn't fail to have people show up for the vote.
Pardon me?
You don't think you failed to have MPs show up for the vote?
Every single person that was supposed to vote yesterday voted.
So what happened? How did you lose it? Why did you lose it? Why didn't you get support from some other members enough to get it passed?
There was a non-binding advisory resolution of the House of Commons. I suspect you're going to see a lot more of them.
You don't care about that?
It's a minority parliament.
You don't think it's an early test of whether or not you can rally enough votes when it counts?
I think the test of rallying votes comes on the vote on the throne speech tomorrow night, which is a confidence vote.
En français, le Parlement a quand même voté. C'est dans le discours du trône. Vous vous sentez pas du tout lié à ce qui a été voté hier?
Comme vous savez, il y a des journées d'opposition, il y a beaucoup de votes dans la Chambre des communes. Il y a des votes qui ont évidemment plus de portée que d'autres. le vote de demain soir a certainement une portée.
Will you bring the bill of the House and offer some kind of economic update for the advisory motion?
That's not up to me. I know the resolution said urge, and so I think we'll take note of having been urged.
Vous vous sentez dans l'urgence
So
de
what
dire
do you say to them?
maintenant
You're
que
saying
vous
you're
vous
losing the
sentez
war.
pressé
We're
de...
working with them. I spoke to a
Ben,
number of them.
pressé,
over
c'est-tu
the
l'équivalent de...
weekend. We're going to
Oui, je pense
fight
que oui.
for the industry, fight for the workers.
Pressé,
understand
ben,
what they-
je sais pas.
what they want.
C'est- On va regarder on va regarder le dictionnaire des synonymes.
Mais est-ce que vous avez...
Are you going to re-raise tariffs?
Well, listen, you're going to be consistent with what
Again,
we've been doing.
when
There's
Parliament
not been an
speaks,
executive order from the
it speaks in different
watching that carefully.
tones and different voices. Some are advisory. We're going to have opposition days. Lots of points are registered in the House of Commons. Budgets, throne speeches, that's another matter. We'll see how the votes line up.
How important is C5 in Ontario with drafting your own legislation?
Hello. It was a privilege to be in Saskatoon yesterday. What Canadians saw was the most united First Ministers meeting in years, if not decades. I was proud to be a Canadian yesterday. Now it's time to get down to work and build.
How much money
Thank
are
you.
you going to put into an oil pipeline?
When will we have the legislation?
C5 in Ontario!
Why don't you take questions?
Yesterday.
Good morning. We had a wonderful meeting in Saskatoon. C'était une excellente réunion. Je suis pleine d'optimisme qu'on vraiment pourra bâtir une économie canadienne, qu'on pourra bâtir l'économie le plus fort dans le G7. We had an excellent meeting in Saskatoon. I am so full of optimism about our country right now. I'm really confident that we will succeed in building one Canadian economy, the strongest economy in the G7. It's what we need to do. Conversation with the premiers was outstanding. Thank you.
Hi, how are you? The steel producers say that the government is undercutting their industry by having dropped tariffs to a level that doesn't help them in the tariff war against U.S. steel. So what do you say to them?
Yeah,
They
we're
say
with
you're
them.
losing the war.
We're working with them. I spoke to a number of them over the weekend. We're going to fight for the industry, fight for the workers. I understand what they want in the sense we want to use more Canadian steel and Canadian projects.
But they say that's long term. In the short term, they're losing this end of the tariff war. Are you going to re-raise tariffs?
Well, listen, we are going to be consistent with what we've been doing. Like I said, there's not been an executive order from the president. We're watching that carefully, but I would say we're in sync with them and with the unions. We're really working hand in hand. I spoke with them over the weekend. We're working hand in hand. We want to make sure that, we have not only a strong industry here in Canada, but one that would be sustained for decades to come, because steel industry is at the core of building Canada. So for me, we're on the same page. I'm working with them end in end.
So in the short term, if the steel and aluminum industries are concerned that they're on the losing end of this, do you see any deal with the U.S. possible where tariffs are gone completely?
Well,
Do we revert to that, or is it just a new reality?
Well, I would say these are global tariffs, as you know. So we're talking to our friends also in the European Union. But what I want to say is that we've been clear from the get-go that we would fight these tariffs, we would protect our worker and industry and build a country. In the building the country and protecting our worker and industry, using Canadian steels is the key. We need to use more Canadian steel. We need to have measures in place to favor that, and that's exactly the discussion I'm having with the industry. And we're going to be working on that because, a strong and very prosperous steel industry in Canada is at the core of building Canada of the future.
So U.S. tariffs are the new reality.
Well, I said we'll see. One thing that I've learned now, and I think we have all learned, is unpredictability. You've seen from the G7 finance ministers meeting how many things have happened since then where we were all aligned in saying we need to restore stability and growth. A lot of things have happened, so we're going to go step by step, but one thing is sure, for all the workers who are watching us, the industry leaders, we've been saying we're going to fight for you, we're going to protect you, and we're going to build Canada with Canadians. Non, on était clair déjà sur cette question-là, mais vous avez vu la réunion des premiers ministres des provinces, c'est une bonne réunion. Moi, le Canada est uni là, pour bâtir, pour faire. On va changer la façon de faire au Canada. Je pense que c'est une très bonne chose parce qu'on a besoin de bâtir un Canada moderne, puis de voir l'unité hier des premiers ministres des provinces. Moi, je pense que c'est un grand moment dans l'histoire du Canada où tout le monde était uni pour bâtir ensemble. In English, I think this was a great moment yesterday. You saw there's great unity to build a strong Canada. And I think now that we are aligned with the provinces, with the premiers, we're going to be able to do big things together, and that's what we wanted. So we're going to keep working with them, with the finance minister as well. I think the roadmap is clear. We're going to build Canada together, a strong, resilient, and prosperous Canada, and I think this is a great day for Canada's unity.
Will there be an economic update in the spring?
Listen, we've already talked about that, so we'll see you soon, gentlemen. Merci.